think I'm not unmuted, so that is possible. Yeah, I think so, but let me see. Yeah, not sharing. Oh, what happened to this? Okay. Thank you, Lakshmi. Sorry about that. I know people who have been online missed the fast 2 minutes. We did our opening prayers, and then we talked about the etiquette to mute our cell phones, and then today we are going to start the session with light meditation, Jyoti meditation for the one that Swami has talked about. We have done this in the past at our center, and we request everyone to sit comfortably and focus and maintain silence. Thank you.
तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्
Please sit up straight, and in the quietness of your mind, hear the sound of your breathing. Breathe in and out. In, out. As you breathe in, let your mind say, so. As you breathe out, let your mind say, hum. So, hum. So, Now, open your eyes and see the light in front of you. This is the light of a candle. Gaze intently at the light. Now, feel the light shining in the center of your forehead. Now half close your eyes and feel the light in the center of your forehead. Now, let that light come down your neck to the center of your chest, imagine a flower, a lotus, opening petal by petal to receive the light. Now the light is resting on the lotus. The lotus disappears, only the light remains. But it is no more the light of the candle. It is a round ball of formless light. It is a light of divinity within you. Feel this light now expand. And feel the light going down your body, into your legs, up to your feet. Feel warmth as the light surges through your limbs. And make this mental vow, O Lord, my legs, touched by the light of your divinity, will always take me only to places of goodness. Feel the light surging upwards, up into your chest, around your shoulders, and down into your arms and fingers. Feel a warmth as this light surges through you. Make this mental vow, O Lord. My arms, touched by the light of your divinity, will only yearn to do what is good. Now feel the light surging upwards into your neck and into your face, into your head. And the light now shines in your eyes. Make a vow. My eyes must yearn to see only what is good. Feel the light now shining in your ears. My ears must yearn to hear only what is good. Feel the light now shining on your lips. My lips must yearn to only speak what is good. Now, feel this light now shining into your whole body. The light illumines the body. In your mind, repeat the words, the light is in me. Now feel the light expand. Expand, and you are now sitting in a ball of light, in a cone of formless light. Let your mind say, the light is within me, I am in the light. Feel a thrill of this light, and now feel this light expanding and filling this entire room with a divine glow. And let this light now go beyond this room, beyond and beyond, spreading ever further to this whole country, and beyond this country, beyond oceans and beyond nations. Let this light flow ever outwards to encompass the whole world. Now, imagine yourself, not your physical body, but an inner being within you, like a gigantic divine form, sitting on the globe, and the light of your divinity, the light of your love, encompassing the whole world. Stay for a moment, thrilled in that thought. Feel oneness with the whole world. The form of the Ishtadeva, the divine being that you love and worship, be it the Christ, Rama, Krishna, Buddha, or Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. See this form smiling within you. See this divine form raise his hands in blessing. Now, receive the blessing and darshan of the divine within. Stay for a moment, thrilled in this thought that you and he are one.
Okay, Saira. All right. Thank you. And I think we can continue our discussion, but before we go in, I think let's do a quick review. Last week we started off discussing um, reflections from chapter 33, and we talked about being content with what one has, having an attitude of gratitude. We reflected on how we can develop that attitude and how we can practice it so that when challenges actually arise, we will be able to uh, leave the result and do everything that we need to do and practice gratitude even during those tough times. And then we started to listen to chapters 34 and 35. We'll be discussing those chapters today. And since it's been a week, I thought I'll give a little summary of each of those chapters. So chapter 34 is Krishna Avatar. This chapter describes the divine birth and early leelas of Krishna. Swami elaborates on the significance of the incarnation, and then Sukha Mahamuni talks about all the evil forces that Krishna had destroyed or fought with, like Kamsa and I think Kalia is mentioned there or in the next chapter, I'm not sure, but he did talk about the evil forces. And then it talked about all of the events around Krishna's birth, and how he was brought to Gokula, I think. Well, not in that detail, but we did talk about his omnipresence and omnipotence, at least Sukamahamuni did to King Parikshit. And then the chapter highlights Krishna's childhood and the Leelas, etc. We then moved along to chapter 35, where we heard about gopis and their bond with Krishna, and how even though the lifestyle seemed very simple, it was actually steeped in spiritual bliss for them. And Swami has often always talked about gopis' love for Krishna, and I think this chapter just brings it all together with focusing on devotion from the gopis' perspective, and how Krishna has always protected them. So that is what I have. If there is anything anyone wants to add, this would be a great time, or we can start the discussion. Okay, Sairam. So let's just start. I have both chapters listed one after the other, and so just with chapter 34, since we are talking about Krishna Avatar, right? How do these divine playful acts, how do they turn spiritual, or how do they turn divine just because Krishna is Krishna is involved there? Why are those acts not considered as mere pranks? Why are they given a spiritual twist or a divine meaning there? And then I thought that it's very important to see the demons that Sage Sukha talked about. Can we see any parallels in that story? How do we reflect the negatives in our own lives? Because each of those demons that Krishna destroyed or fought, they had vices, be it anger, greed, pride, whatever it may be. And what do those demon disguises reveal about, hidden evils, probably in our lives, maybe, or how can we connect to that? And then Swami, just like Krishna, always led with wisdom and detachment and lot of love, and he never forced anyone. How can we apply Krishna's leadership qualities, in our lives as a parent, teacher, or at work, whatever it may be? So, just a few thoughts from my end, to kickstart this conversation. So we can take it one at a time, or maybe they're all intertwined. So either ways. So first, coming back to the playful acts like stealing butter, they are just mere pranks. But why do we consider those to have a deeper spiritual truth?
Nobody's ready. Sairam. One thing that came to my mind was the stealing butter. The butter is an analogy that the butter is soft, pure white. So what Krishna is after is your heart. You keep your heart as soft as the butter and pure and white, and that's what he wants to steal. That is something I think I have read somewhere, so it is, I think all these stories, okay, with all our Puranic stories, they all have a deeper meaning. If you look at it superficially, the Krishna is stealing butter, he is chasing the gopis, whatever, all this. But there is a deeper meaning to it. It is not just the butter. Why would a kid, how much can a kid eat butter? Right? And is he the only kid stealing butter in the whole world that time? I'm sure all the kids like butter. But because he has taken an avatar, as an avatar, and they are showing that Krishna as a child, he is stealing butter, then what does it mean to us? You want us to reflect on what it means for us. So this is what it is. It is like the breaking the coconut at the temple. What does that mean? The hard shell, you break it open, you see the pure white coconut inside. It is all the analogy for our heart. Keep your heart pure, keep your heart, white. It's not that Ganesha wants all the coconuts. It's not that Krishna wants to eat all the butter. It's not that. That is the spiritual teaching, if you will, we can take.
So my take on that is, there's a child. When the child is doing all these pranks, you actually are able to differentiate between the act and the person doing it. So, the child, you have so much love. So you actually show love. At the same time, you're also seeing that they are doing, a mischief. So this is actually a part of learning detachment on, separate out the action from the person. And that is the lesson that we can take from such an act.
Nicely put.
Sairam. If you just look at butter, the cows are the ones giving milk. It is only our own system. We own this cow. That cow belongs to somebody else. But in the divine sense, they are all the same, right? So the ownership is only the human made. It's not divine. So the cow, and from that milk, we churn the butter and get the butter. So, and then the butter is stored in the pot. If you look at from Krishna's standpoint, this butter that is sitting in the neighbor's house is no different from the butter in their own house. Right. So for him, it is all the same because the origin of that is the cow. It is not even human made. If it is human made, yes, then we can say this person made it, that person made it. So from that standpoint, I can just looking at the butter, I can see the analogy and that it's a spiritual aspect. Just by looking at the butter itself, how can somebody claim that this is my butter? Okay, from that standpoint, it's
okay. Yeah. No, I just when that chapter was being read, all I was thinking is, how do we know? I mean, how did they think that it is divine play? Is it something, is it an emotion versus what they are seeing? Because something has got to be different, right? Yes, he is a child and he is just running around. He has played pranks, he has killed demons, he has, you know, he's just a very, I guess, a gifted child in a lot of ways. But my point is that why do we consider those as divine plays? Or what can, it's not just us. I mean, if you read Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's every act, even his steps that he took, were inclined to the betterment of humanity. So again, I come back to how was this interpreted, I would say.
Sairam. So this butter analogy, this seems like you get the you don't get the butter straight away as we discussed. So you have to first extract the milk and then boil it, and then you need to add some extra curd from other source, and then you keep it for some time, churn it, and then finally you extract the butter. So here the analogy is your mind and consciousness are raw materials, which is similar to milk. And then that's where you have to clean up. And then you need to practice these spiritual practices, which are like churning of the butter. That's the end of the process. You get the consciousness, pure consciousness, which Krishna likes it. So that's what the butter analogy with respect to, the
Very
practices
nicely
that
put.
we are.
Yes, thank you, Jai. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Also, why at that time you asked, they looked at it as a spiritual thing, right? So if
Did they look at it at that time, or
Ah.
afterwards we are interpreting it
yeah, it could
as
be
a
that too.
spiritual act?
Yes,
act. That's
See, if they are just after one child, okay, and whatever he does as a spiritual thing, but there are a lot of kids. Krishna was not the only kid in the town, right? Did they all look at all the children that way? We didn't hear anything about it. Only Krishna, they were all going after, and whatever pranks he did,
right.
they took it as a spiritual thing. So if we believe that Krishna was an avatar and came down for a special purpose, he didn't come by himself. He got his army of people also around him. If you can look at it like in Ramavata, they say all the Vanaras, they came later as, close by to him as gopis or whatever. So if we take it that way, these gopis and gopalas were near Krishna, came with him, and then we did this meditation. In that meditation, it says at one point, you see the light is inside you and the light is outside.
Yeah.
Surrounded, right? And we can say that this divine being has come down, and then the gopis had the divine being Krishna in their heart, and then they were surrounded by the divine love of Krishna also outside. So in that way, yes. So they did, they were immersed in the divine love
So
at all times. Yeah.
yeah.
Sairam, just answering this question that you're playing.
Right.
There are so many avatars, right? Some avatars have declared. Krishna's avatar he's always said he's an avatar. Like Baba also, when he declared early on, some avatars don't declare, right? Like Rama avatar, he never declares as avatar. People around him recognize him as avatar based on his deeds, his demeanor, whatever.
Yeah.
I heard this, that Krishna has declared his avatar.
Right.
I don't know at what point. As a young child, maybe initially, even with these pranks that they thought were pranks, people were always like, it was beyond any meaningful prank, right? Like a small child to read something so up without break. So these were like not normal, as you would put, like any kid would do. They were extraordinary deeds.
Right.
And he also declared his avatar as being an avatar, that I am the Bhagavan. So yeah, can you compare it to any other person doing the same things and then say, is that divine too?
Yeah.
No, we can't.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, there are many acts like that. So I was just listening to, I think we've listened to this story quite a bit from Swami, one of Swami's students actually, where, Swami, they actually talk about how, Swami's messages are so confusing, right? Because he says, don't ever cheat. But at the same time, when he was in school, both his friends and him, right? He wrote papers for his friends so again, there at that point, at that time, Swami always said, I had to help my devotees. I'll do anything to help them. So, but when he talks or people tell that story, it seems like, oh, Swami, but you cheated, you know. So these are, I think, just anecdotes that we have to listen to it. Of course, as a child, always loved those stories. It's I didn't even think of reasoning behind these things. You just listen to it from your grandparents or whatever, and you take it at face value and think, oh, he's a cute kid, because he's divine. But yeah, so that is one thing. And then the next that I thought about, because in that chapter, Sage Sukha talks about how Krishna protected everyone around him. He talked about Kamsa and Putana and all the others. So even those, how those are all characters with lot of negatives, right? And how can we are just listening to the story, but more importantly, to recognize those demons, which probably are within each one of us. They are not probably, they're dormant. We are no Kamsa at this point, but there are these things that do happen. And what do those disguises reveal, about our own hidden evils? And how can we actually, again, we come back to the purity, I know, but these are moments, I think, that we should reflect upon to what is or how we can reflect on those negatives. I think unless we recognize and reflect, I don't think we can change. So
we have to first of all have that awareness, what we have. Anger comes, greed comes, jealousy, pride. All these things are there as humans. We all have that. The ratio might be different from person to person. So how do we overcome it? That's why we have all the spiritual practices, Yes, there are people who were very angry, even you hear people saying that I used to be very angry, now I'm not getting that angry,
right, exactly.
So somehow the degree of that anger comes down, or even jealousy. After some point, there is no, well, what am I jealous about,
Yes.
Like that, right? So I think it is only with the practice that we have to have good satsang, good people, surround with good people around you. And then get involved in some kind of a spiritual practice, something, whatever appeals to you. All these sadhanas, they do help. There are so many we talked about in the past. What are the things we can do?
Right.
Those kind of things.
Absolutely.
So whatever we put our mind into, that is what we become. Absolutely. Our mind, whatever it takes in, that is what we put out. So that is the first and foremost thing we should be aware of it. On a lighter note about the Krishna being stealing butter, in India, like Gokulakshtami,
Yeah.
we all make that snacks, all kind of sweets and stuff
Right.
in a plate, keep it in front of God,
Yeah.
and do the Naivedyam in the evening after puja.
Yeah.
I remember one of my relative, little kid, before the puja, she took one from the plate. And then everybody got so angry. Here they are doing for Krishna. This is what I'm saying. There is a total disconnect about why we are doing. So only the Krishna, the almighty kid, can steal and eat. Our own grandchild takes one thing from the plate before, or 2-year-old, 3-year-old. Total chaos in the house. So they cannot do any Naivedyam because one is taken off the plate. You have to bring something else. This
Yeah.
very silly, but somehow all these adults, most of them, they don't connect why we are doing this. They don't see the divinity in the child, or that it gets lost in the translation, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sairam.
Sairam, yeah.
Yeah. Coming back to that pranks. See, Swami has said that purity, I think you
Yeah.
rightly said, if we are pure, so all these practices are only to make our hearts pure, or at least remove the things that covers that heart, and so that we identify with the purity. But coming back to this, just like the prank, we know this arm wrestling. So there were students who were doing arm wrestling, and Swami happened to come there. And then he was asking, "What are you guys doing?" And then they said they are doing arm wrestling. And Swami immediately cleared and, "Okay, come." He picked the strongest boy, strongest student. He said, "Come arm wrestling." So here, the boy, it's with Swami. So first of all, he's so happy that he is able to grasp Swami's arm. And he wanted to be very gentle because Swami looks frail and only 5 feet 3 inches, and this guy is tall and well built. So he's trying to do very, very lightly, but Swami is very strong. Okay, and he won't budge. So then he applies full strength. Still, he was not able to move Swami's arm. Then many people joined. They all tried to push, and they were all not able to do it. And one go, Swami pushed all of them down. And then they all said, "No wonder, Swami, you are God. So you're God, and obviously you have that strength." Then Swami said, "No, this is all my physical strength. It's due to the purity of my heart. That is why that strength has come." So it's not, I am never using the divine power. So what I'm trying to say is, I think these pranks, if you look at it, I mean, even though there might have been other kids in that Krishna's era who might have stolen, but this Krishna was special. I think the whole village, that Nandgaon, everybody knew that Krishna was special because he had proved in many such things, like so many demons got killed by, even though he was a child. So they all knew that he was divine, or whether they knew that he was God or not, but they knew this child is special. So even though they were all complaining to Yashoda about this stealing and all that, they were only in their love. They were very appreciative of Krishna coming and stealing. I think that is how it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Sairam, about the second point that you made, the way I think about it is just like we keep our body clean, right? Our objects clean. It's not, every day we take shower, bath. If you don't, you know what happens. All the grime collects, dirt collects, you get stinky, and after that, you cannot even tolerate yourself.
Right.
What are we doing to cleanse the mind? Because these are the things that are the dirt on the mind, the anger, greed, jealousy. Everyone has it. Just like the body collects it, mind also collects it.
Right.
So what do we do to cleanse them? That's how you have to think about it, is through the sadhanas. And what sadhanas, we went over this many times, right? Start your day with some reflection. If you don't call it meditation, then call it a self-reflection time. Some kind of time, because that when you start it like that, it typically the mind goes back to the previous day's events or the day before's events. That's how the mind works. And suddenly you think about what you did or what should I have done, not done. So that is the part of meditation, actually, that thing. Then comes slowly, when that goes away, you focus on more other thing, godly things. Like just like he started with, start with your body, then the
Right.
light goes to your heart, then to the rest of then it spreads to the universe. Same thing will happen. It goes to your thoughts, your day, your things. Then it starts expanding a little beyond that, and then goes towards God and other things. And will get to that stage of experiencing that oneness. So, and then why do we have to do it over and over? Because just like the dirt on the body collects every day,
Right.
as the day goes on, it collects again. Your daily events, your work, your this, that. Again, these things will creep in, right?
Mhm.
Next day, we have to keep it clean again and again. Then the satsangs, the reading, all these are reminders, constant reminders. Oh, you got to clean this. Oh, you got to do this. That's how I look at it. You know.
Very good point. Thank you. Yeah.
Swami Sarvapriyananda also says that just because you have your legs, you don't keep on walking all the time. Just because you have a mouth, you don't keep on talking. Some do, but give rest at some point or eat all the time. Just because you have your hands, you are not picking up things or dropping them. We don't, right? We give rest. The same way with the mind also. Why do you keep on engaging wherever the mind goes, you go? Why don't you give it a rest? You know,
Right.
that Eknath Ishwaran in his book, he says, following the mind, he says, it is like you are watching a really horrible movie directed by a very bad director.
Right.
That bad director is your mind, and we encourage the director and we watch whatever movie it projects, we watch it. So the mind control, our sense controls are very, very important.
Yeah. Sairam. Anyone else has anything to add? We can also talk about how Krishna led his friends, because he was a great influence for everyone around. And of course, Swami was the same when he was younger. A lot of his stories, especially when we did the Satyam Shivam Sundaram parts, as for region 2, actually, there is an entire group that does Satyam Shivam Sundaram. So when we did that, we read a lot about Swami's childhood, and he also led with a lot of clarity, wisdom, of course, for his age, and I mean, it says detachment here with Krishna's actions. I don't know, but definitely Swami always did it with love, and that's why even students also felt that love all the time. Again, how can we apply such qualities? I know purity, but purity doesn't come first step. Something else has to happen before we get to the purity of heart. Because I think we are all faced with fears in leadership. Yeah, fear, because at work you're always worried, oh, will I have this position or not? As a parent, you always wonder whether you're doing something wrong. As a teacher, again, Subhadra is here. Maybe she can. I'm not a teacher like that, but oh, she left. Okay. But so, these are just topics that I think, again, coming back to how do you lead with love? That's
So this is some so in my workplace, right? So there is this guy, amazing, brilliant guy, and very humble, very, very humble. He would so the the project manager, he would be very tough on us. He would be like, hey, why didn't you do it? Blast us and do all that. And we would say, Mayank is the other guy who was leading. Mayank, this is the problem we had. He say, hey, come on, tell us what happened. So this is the problem we had. This is XYZ. This is the hurdles. Like, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, sure. And then he would talk to the project manager and he would say, this is how, this is the reason why. And we have to push back to the business, say that these are the issues which we never expected. So he brilliant. He knows everything and he could have done it faster than us, of course, but he knows that we will be taking time. We are learning, we are taking time. So those are all the qualities of leadership. You have to be, first of all, very humble. You have to have that expertise in that area. As a parent, I'm not expert, no expert. I am on always learning, each new thing is a learning process for me. So you have to be expert. You have to be humble. You should not be thinking, I know the best. You have to hear out. These are all the and that is something we always talk about him. Whenever we talk about anything, they say, "Oh, we have to." If anyone Mayank talks, everyone keeps quiet because they know that whatever he's saying the right thing. He's not telling out of ego. You can clearly understand. When other people are talking and starting yelling, we shut down, right? But he will never yell. He will understand. He'll be like, hey guys, this was not right. That's all he will say. Then you know that that is totally not. So that is the extent to which he made himself a leader. So I think ego is the first thing that has to go out of the window. You have to have the expertise, you have to leave the ego, and you have to listen to the other person, and you have very critical.
So now that you opened up some thoughts that came to my mind, I had a mentor who, he will never say, do this. I mean, go to a problem, he will never say, do this. This is the command. But he will always say, if I were you, I will do it this way.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
so he leaves the choice to you, and he will not come back and say, I told you so. Why did you do it the other way? So he will say, this is what I would have done, but you do it differently. You'll accept that. You make a mistake, that's okay. You learn from. So that is another quality of leadership. One more thing I learned from him. There was a time when I was feeling insecure with my job. And there were some cuts in the programs, and so we don't know what's going to happen. And I was dealing with another guy in the same group. I know that he is brilliant. So this good thing about this leader was you can have an open conversation. That's another thing. You must be able to talk to people, and they should be able to come back and talk to you.
Yeah.
So I asked him, so here is a guy who is, in my opinion, super guy, and I'm competing with him. And if there is a choice, what chance do I have to survive in this thing? And his answer was very beautiful. He said, yes, I agree with you. He's brilliant, but there is only one of him. And there is, I think, more work to do, than just one person we can
Right.
depend on.
Yeah.
And he has all great qualities, but who says that you don't have some of the other qualities which he doesn't have?
Right.
So that is I think that's also a mark of leadership we can learn.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All these things, they are leading by their they themselves, the way they are living is reflected, and that is the example that you want to follow. So I think the leadership, we have to be we have to be very critical of ourselves. Are we doing the right thing? Is it that more than being critical on others, we have to be very critical on ourselves? I feel that is because then others will follow if they see the way that you are doing that.
See that part of being critical of ourselves, is that coming out of fear? Is that coming out of because nobody is perfect. I'm just looking at it from practical standpoint. Okay, we are all striving to be get better. So if we are going to be critical of ourselves, that means, are we judging ourselves? Are we saying, oh, I did this wrong, I did this? It's after a fact. But if it is going to help us in correcting, I think it's good, but not from the question of blaming ourselves as to I did that wrong and then brooding. We did talk about that in the past also. It's not to be, the critical part is only with respect to learning from it and improving ourselves, not from being critical about what we did and then blaming ourselves.
Critical, it could be like self-reflection kind of a thing. The critical may not be the right word. Critical kind of has a negative tone to it, right? So we don't want that. We just reflect on what we do, what we say, right? And see, we sense from people, like you said, your a boss, he, whatever he says, it is good thing. He speaks out of, not out of ego. So how do we get it? He's not advertising it. People don't. If they act in certain way without ego, or then we understand we get the message from their action, right? So we don't need to say, I am without ego, I will always do good things. We don't need to say that. Just do it. And then people can judge it. People can see it. Then they will put faith in us, not only in workplace, in everyday life as parents. Yeah, right. From Yes. So that is what it is. We see their action more than what they say. When we follow them, when we understand this is the good thing to do. Like the same as parents, the children watch us more than what we tell them. That is where they learn, right? So we should be conscious about what we are saying, what we are doing. And it has to start from what we are thinking to begin with. Then it becomes words and action.
So I want to share one more thought on. So they say same guy. He was, father of 6 children. So one of the things that he used to say was, he will ask children, okay, you can go out. I mean, this is the American tradition. So when they are in the high school or something, they will, go out for and come back late in the night. But he will always stay there. He'll say, I'll leave the lights on till you come. And he will just sit there until they come. So he said, make sure, try to be back home by midnight, but definitely not later than 2 o'clock. But even if they come late, he will sit there, wait for them to come. He will not say anything. As soon as they come, he will switch off the light and go to sleep. So just by that message that, he means what he says, but he doesn't give any other feedback. He said,
Right.
that is how all my children, none of them, they will do one or two times and then they will never repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. Thank you.
Coming back to Krishna's qualities, I think he, among his friends, when he was a child, all his acts were totally for everybody else. Nothing was selfish. So I think that itself is a primary leadership quality. And that's why everybody loved Krishna. Everybody wanted to be with Krishna. And for example, that Kalinga, this one was affecting the whole village. And he took it on himself to fight it. I mean, he was divine, he had divine powers, but still they were all, nobody would venture to go and do that. And he ventured to do it. So all these acts only showed that it was totally selfless. So when we at workplace or at home, if we are doing acts that are selfless, those are all some of the things we should strive for, I think, as qualities, that if we can do something beyond what is necessary. I think that's what we always can go beyond. We generally stop short of it. We just, maybe they will take care, or maybe, I have other things to do. So
Right.
our mind is the one that will justify all that. So I think we can probably take the next step. These are all some of the leadership qualities that we can try to
Absolutely.
begin.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move along to 35. I don't have too many questions here, but basically the relationship of the Gopas and Gopis, what does that represent? As per the chapter, he talked a lot about to see Krishna's, Sage Sukha talked about the Gopas and the Gopis. And then he also asks King Parikshit to see Krishna's actions as divine, in perspective of his actions or his activities with the gopis. And then why is it, how does that perspective change our spiritual understanding of any action? Even in today's world, I think that's pretty potent. I have seen myself think differently about the same action from before. So why is it, how does that perspective change for you? I mean, when you being in the spiritual fold, that is a good reflection to have. I at least that's what I thought. And why is it essential to have different perspective, to interpret these stories? Does that help?
I think that Gopis relationship with Krishna is completely divine love. If they are so immersed in divine love, and Krishna represents the divinity. So they are all totally so they don't care about the body, they don't care about the mind, they're all fixated completely with, they are immersed in that divine love. I think that's what that Gopas and Gopis love towards Krishna reflect. So they have completely gone beyond the body mind consciousness. They are all living in the divine consciousness. If we strive, that is the best we can. We cannot become divine because that Maya will always be there in the human birth, I think. But we can reach that level of being in that divine consciousness. That's how I interpret that.
I think it's just like extreme bhakti is the bhakti mode. That is a example they gave, right? Gopa Gopis towards Krishna is that ultimate bhakti, and
Well,
so
yeah. So
it
bhakti
is nothing but divine love.
So it is interpreted. Yes, I mean that is again. I don't know about. Did they know anything different from that? That's
See, we should
you know,
not think. Yeah,
ah.
I know you come back to that because you're thinking of it as a story or Krishna as a
Correct.
child,
Yeah, that's
and it's
I'm
not like
but
that.
yeah,
It
that is the question that
yeah,
I'm
it is not. Otherwise, Parikshit will not be talking about Bhagavatam, first of all. So, no. So, we should not look at it like that. We have to look at it as a divine, avatar who's come, and all these relationships and all these are divine relationships. If you put a human aspect to it, it's a whole different different thing. A lot of people do that. I can see Krishna. We heard that, right? There's so many wives. I can have 10. It's not this. It's not a physical relationship or even like emotional relationship. It's beyond that. If you lose that perspective on this, you lost the entire message. Is gone.
Yeah, the same thing. Why, the Gopi and Gopas and Krishna, I already talked about the consciousness, they are one. See, we can take it as, if you take it into a little bit higher philosophical thinking, that in spiritual way, that Krishna is that, the ultimate Brahman, that consciousness. We are like jivas. So we are all one, but we are separate in body and mind. So in that way, if we can identify with that ultimate Brahman, like Krishna, then we can have the bliss. We can enjoy it. We are part of him, that kind of a thinking. But then as human beings at our level, we cannot understand that kind of a love, right? But they are trying to tell us through stories. This is how it should be. This is how the love is. This is how the relationship for the Jivatma with Paramatma. This is how it is. But then we read and literally take the meaning, and then we don't internalize it. We don't go for the deeper meaning of all the stories. Superficially, when we look at it, it is just a child, running around with, right, that milkmaids and having fun. That's all.
So it is not even for gopis, gopas, right? So if you look at Mirabai, right, that's way later. It's just now 200 years back. She took Krishna as a husband, right? And then she went on with her devotion. And Andal, right? Andal is another example where she talked. So as we have different relation, each one has a different relation, or the way we are, have a relationship with God is different for each person, and that is how they are going through in that one. And if this is absolute, as you said, we just cannot literally take it in the sense, like our physical, method.
They go beyond the senses and the mind. Then that's the only way to look at it. If we are looking through the lens of senses and mind, then we don't get the full picture of it. So,
Saira.
yeah, Saira.
Yeah.
So I think I would like to say also, we can kind of get to that point when we focus on something. Supposing we, like music, for example, if the musicians, we look at them, when they are giving a concert, they are lost in what they are doing. They will, especially the classical music, Indian classical music, they are, they have the freedom to explore their possibilities, and they get into that, and you can actually see, they are absolutely lost in that. And some of us listening to that also get to that same kind of spirit. And we have seen that when we work on something and we really love doing it, we suddenly say, oh, really? It is that time of the
It's
day
time.
that we have to
Yeah.
go. So I think we can kind of see that thing happening when you're totally involved in that. And that, I think, to me, is divinity too.
Yeah. So in that case, yeah, please go ahead.
So most of our scriptures are written like stories is because of it's most of them are symbolic basically. So whatever
Yes.
happened, the reason, one of the reason, I mean I cannot confirm this is the only reason. So think of these stories when they were written way back, centuries back, and that time think of literacy rate. And there were varnas. People are given a certain duty. Some of them are kings, they need to protect. Some of them are Brahmins, they need to educate and then take care of the guidance to the king and do all other things where the literacy. And then the other part is business, and other part is varna, my physical world.
Right.
So if somebody goes and tell all this Sanskrit related, all the intellectual stuff to a common man, they cannot understand. So somehow you need to convey that message. People who studied, they can understand easily what is written there. So other part is the people who are not having enough time to go through all the scriptures, all this education that is required. And then part of that, they started telling them as stories. So end of the day, what happens? People probably take it as a story for some time.
Right.
But anybody who listen the stories at our, think of all of us, we have listened these stories at very young age, but that time we did not take it seriously. Now we are coming back, recovering all those stories. Now we are trying to understand why they were told like that. So it is the phase of life. People who studied at young age, they might understand all this, the essence of these scriptures at a very early age, depending on their maturity and education background. For the people who are uneducated, probably they will realize at the later part of the life when they have the time. That's, I think, all these stories are meant for some message, but how soon you get the message is the part, right?
Yeah.
Whether you can go and read Valmiki and Vyasa actual Sanskrit versions, or
Yeah,
you want to listen, or you want to listen like a story, you don't have the knowledge of understanding that grammar and chandas and all
Right.
that, or later you understand the story. And the essence is important. End of the day, the essence is important from the message.
So yeah, so that is where I was going with. So how does that perspective change? Is it age? Is it, and why are we listening? And why is it important to know these different perspectives? I mean, we could have let it. I mean, there are people who still think, read Amar Chitra Katha and be done. They have never visited Krishna again, right? But why is that different perspective important?
I think it is in our human nature that we are not happy with, something. We need to find more curiosity, and also the drive that after some time, when you are young, yeah, you listen to stories for stories' sake. Children love stories. And all these Puranic stories were very interesting. So we loved it. And then once you are in 20s and 30s or 40s, oh, is that it? Or there is something more? That innate, that the quest, it comes out. I want to know more. It is not just this. So that is our human intelligence. Okay, we are equipped with that curiosity. So then we search for answers. There are so many things, even if it is not at the deepest spiritual level, even mundane things also, we get bored after some time doing the same old stuff. We want to do something different. In that sense, we want to know more. We want to educate ourselves. And we come to a point that just getting up, eating, going to work, sleeping is not just life. There is something more into it. So some people pursue that and they want to know more and more, and they go in the spiritual path, whichever way they want to approach it, whichever yoga they want to do. Some are happy just doing the same old stuff, you know. And this guy was sitting in the beach, one fisherman, he caught some fish and he was sitting there. One rich man was coming and he asked him, it seems, why are you just sitting? Go get some more fish. And this man said, no, I have enough. This is good. But that rich man says, no, no, no. See, you can go get some more fish. You can sell and then you can buy a bigger boat and you can catch more fish. And the fisherman said, then what do I do? Then you can get lot of money and you can do whatever you want and you can be very happy. And this fisherman said, I am happy.
Yeah.
Why do I have to do all those things?
Yeah.
See, if we are like the fisherman, just to have that knowledge what we have and do the same old thing, nothing wrong. You are happy. Sarvapriyananda also says, everybody will get to that. Everybody will get the liberation. But eventually you will get it sooner or later. Fisherman might take little longer, right? So in that way, we will all
the
reach
fisherman
there.
will be reaching faster.
Or
Get it?
faster.
Yeah.
Or faster. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we don't know, but the quest is in us. So we have to satisfy that. That is why we are pursuing all this deeper understanding.
And why is it essential to have different perspective though?
Perspective, it is natural. Fingers are not the same.
Yeah.
That is the human nature. Not everybody, the birds, they look alike. Like if a parrot or myna, they all look, but they know the difference between them. Like that, But for us, we have to look different. Then only we know you are Shobha, he is Venkat.
Not that. And that's not where I'm coming from.
No,
But
it is not the physical thing. I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
the
okay,
physical,
yeah,
but the mentally also, because we are the human, we have taken the human birth.
yeah.
That is the freedom we have. We have different perspective. And then we have to, analyze all that and choose the best one.
Yeah.
Whatever appeals to us.
And,
That is the freedom.
Analysis
we have.
paralysis happens then. But yes. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. No, I think when a divine person like Krishna exhibits, or when the Gopas and Gopis, when this is reflected and reported, and when people listen to it or read about it, or this one, then that brings that, as you said, the intellectual curiosity. I mean, even though when you are young, maybe you will interpret in a very physical way, but
Right.
then as you grow up, Krishna has done it.
Yeah.
Why is it being revered? Why are people thinking or talking about it? So then that brings that inquisition. If it were some other, not Krishna, but some other side story, then you might not give importance to it. But because it is Krishna and love towards Krishna that is depicted, our intellectual curiosity wants to go deeper and try to understand that it is not physical. It is to exhibit that quality that of Krishna consciousness, or going deeper and at the Atma level to have that love. I think it's that from that standpoint that Krishna plays an important role in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, please go ahead, Venkat. Go ahead, Venkat.
So
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So coming to the perspective is again what I feel is the state of mind, like, because it I'll just try to connect it to a little different, like, because the same all this scriptures what has been read by each and every director, if you look into that, each one will be seeing it in a different way and direct the movie in a different angle also. But it is all about his understanding. And also all the scriptures which have been translated are also, we never know like what exactly it has been translated also. We always see it with the frosted lens. We never know like whether it's a true way it has been done. Okay, as if you just pass on a piece of ice also, like from hand to hand, it gets changed. The state of the ice gets changed. So when you read here and all, and also all these things, what we are trying to do with the analogies and all these things, it is all like when we are reading other people's thoughts and all these things, we are correlating that and we are trying to share their experiences as an analogy, like, okay, this is what it is, the understanding of. Okay, if I just want to understand, like, okay, we always think, okay, what all Krishna has done in the great things in this child age or his young age or something. What did he do after 40? Did we start understanding, like, does he did anything different in the old age? Because we are, these leelas are told only till certain age only. But after that, like, we are crossing that age. So probably we are not doing thinking different also. And to get to that perspective of what Krishna being a divine from the starting, okay, and everyone accepted. First thing is, when everyone accepted, that is the way, like, the other person is been elevated. So if you don't accept it, then other person will never be elevated, even if it is a leader also. If someone in the team accepts him as a leader, then only he'll be projected as a leader. But otherwise, we'll never project him as a leader. We have to, the other people also have the equal importance for other person to be elevated. So I feel that we always see that, like, the perspective is the state of the mind, what we have it at a different, at every age, our understandings, our experiences, our maturity, our thought process will be different. So I feel like this same the same chapter, if you read it like 2 years later or something like this or something, we might discuss in a different way. So I feel like it's all different. There is no perspective, like, always, like, it keeps changing. So I feel that.
I'll take a different perspective on that. Again, that perspective also. I think, see, for us to believe in something remote that you've never seen, heard it yourself, is hard for human beings. Because it's just, we don't know. We didn't see it. So it seems very unreal, very like, oh, I don't know. The doubt always comes back, right? Do I believe it or not? That's why avatars happen all the time. If you believe in that, and if you see it yourself, they're not coming one time. They're coming repeatedly in many, many forms. Okay. For us, some of us had the good fortune of seeing Baba's avatar. I'm just hearing about him. And I believe it's a matter of faith also. Even if you don't believe all that, even if you don't believe that, someone's great, someone's is the few people's perspective, this is only a small group, such as our organization. What about the rest of the world? They don't even know. So then what? They will have their own avatar somewhere that they will believe, right? Let's say you don't believe all that. Come back to your own self, your own perspective. All it takes is introspection into your own life. Just observe your own, why you're living, what is the purpose of living, how your mind works. It will eventually take you there itself. It will take you there. The end result will be that only. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I'm not this, I'm not that.
Right.
Then what am I? That is the question. It always comes. Who am I?
Yeah.
Right? That is the essential question you always stop on.
Yeah.
Then you have to answer that question. How will you answer that question? You can do it with introspection, right?
Yeah.
You can do it, but it's not easy to do that. This is easier because you have faith in someone. You can follow them and say, oh yeah, I'm seeing this. This is great. This is something that I can aspire to, and this makes sense. I feel like that, you can do it either way, like he said, but there is something there that you will come eventually. The same.
So I want to just give a different tune to this interpretation. So just look at a flower. Depending on the person who is looking at the flower, he will have different perspectives. Yeah, for example, like me, who's more mechanical, geometrical kind of thing, I will just look at how the different petals are 6 petals, 5 petals. How is that thing, and are the petals the same? I'll be closely watching. Is there any difference between how the nature has created that? So that will be the one. Yeah, a physicist will go and look at it. How did this color come? What is that thing that caused that diffraction to take place? And then a chemist will look at what dye made that happen. A poet will go there and he'll actually compose a poem, just looking at that. So all these are different spiritual insight from the same object, but you are getting different things. That is one thing I want to say. Second thing I want to say is go and look at a museum or an art show, and then there's a painting. And sometimes the artist will be there, watching it,
Yeah.
and he might be just watching, and he would never have thought of all the interpretations being made by the audience about that picture.
Right.
They look at it and they give us a different thing. And sometimes we just look at it, "Oh, what is the square? What is the meaning of this? Word. And this is an art. This is supposed to be displayed." Sometimes we go and look at it and, we get that perspective. So I think it is the
Be-
beholder who makes that interpretation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I have a short video. Just thought we can watch that and then we can continue the discussion. So give me 1 second.
So it's a very beautiful practice where you decorate the image of the Lord or a picture of the Lord with flowers, and then you chant mantras, you offer the bay leaves or the tulsi leaves, and then you offer flowers and incense and the light, and then you offer fruits and food offerings. You bathe the Lord. It's all done in using the power of imagination, visualization. You're bathing the Lord, you're wiping the Lord clean, and you give a new set of clothes, and then you wave the light, the arati. Then you follow it up by chanting, by singing, by kirtan, by the recitation of stava, and it should always have a joy within. It should be a living practice. All of this can deteriorate into a mechanical practice. Many people do puja, and it becomes mechanical. It becomes a kind of repetitive ritual. That should not happen. You should feel, today the Lord is happy. He's smiling. Today the Lord is annoyed. Have I done something wrong? You might think all this is fancy. But it actually happens. Baburam Maharaj Swami Premanandaji, when he was in Belur Mutt, he had minimum possessions. When he passed away, they found one pair of clothes in his little bag, one pair of clothes, one pair of slippers, sandals, one Gita. I think that was about it. He was the manager of Belur Mutt. Now one day he got a new shirt made for himself. He said, the old one was torn. And at night he had a vision. Sri Ramakrishna comes to him in a vision and says, Baburam, tu amake ki bhule geli? You've forgotten me. You're making a shirt for yourself and nothing for me. And then he told the pujari in the temple, Swami Premananda, go up to the temple and see whether the Lord's clothes are all right or not. And they found, I think the bugs had eaten them or something like that. There was a hole in the shirt or something. Immediately he had a new set of clothes made for Sri Ramakrishna. So you see this kind of practice. There's a very touching story about the gopis of Vrindavan, the greatest of all lovers of God, the gopis of Vrindavan. Now the heavenly sage Narada, who comes down to earth once in a while, he comes down and he goes to Vrindavan, it's his favorite spot. He says, now he sees a strange sight. The gopi, who is a lover of God, lover of Krishna, but sitting in a yogic posture and doing pranayama like this and meditating. So the Narada said, oh Gopi, what is this strange sight that I see? Are you doing Patanjali yoga? Trying to concentrate on Lord through the yoga? Doesn't your bhakti work anymore? The path of love and the path of meditation. So you have taken to the path of meditation, sitting in asana and breathing control and concentration on the Lord. And the Gopi said, what beautiful words. I've forgotten the original Sanskrit, I think that was. But anyway, it goes like this. He said, oh sage, that's not it. You see, what happened is, I'm trying to forget Krishna. What do you mean forget Krishna? Today in the morning, of course Krishna is nowhere around. He's long gone to Mathura and all that. But today in the morning, I was milking the cow and I felt that the little Krishna is there behind me and asking me, oh, give me some milk to drink. And I turned around and saw Krishna, and I was so overcome, the pitcher of milk fell down and it was all wasted. Of course, it's just my mind. I know that. It's just, I'm just thinking that. It's my imagination. See, it's just a waste, I wasted all the milk. Look at the mischief that little Krishna is causing me. And then when I was cooking, I was put all the pots on the oven and I felt somebody pulling my the pigtail, the long knot of hair, somebody pulling my hair from behind. And I look around and Krishna is there, and immediately I fell in a faint and the pot was upset and cooking was spoiled. So I can't live like this. This is really bad. And so I'm practicing yoga to get rid of Krishna. Now, Narada is so overcome. The yogis practice all this life after life to get one such vision, which you continuously get day and night, which you're trying to get rid of. So Narada had tears in his eyes. This is the complete absorption in God. There's another funny story told by the teachers of bhakti, sort of poking fun at the path of knowledge. It seems Narada once comes to Vrindavan and standing there and weeping. And the gopis asked him, "Oh sage, why are you weeping? This is Vrindavan, so beautiful, your favorite place." And he said, "I'm weeping for all those liberated souls, those who got moksha and got liberated before they could see Vrindavan." Before Krishna came, many people had got liberation also in earlier cycles, but they could not see Krishna, they could not see Vrindavan, they could not see the gopis, they could not see this. That's why I'm weeping for, he's weeping for those who have got moksha. What is the practice that we have to do? What is the practice? There's a sutra in the Naradiya Bhakti Sutras, maybe my most favorite one, most practical advice. How do we lead our lives? It says, Sarvada sarva bhavena nischintitehi bhagavaneva bhajaniya. Very beautiful. At all times, in all ways, without care or anxiety, the Lord alone is to be worshipped. Worship the Lord alone. When? At all times. How? In all ways. And without the least care or anxiety. You see about this chinta, the Sanskrit word chinta means anxiety, care. People of the world are ridden, you have these smileys, the face goes like this, and where we are sad, the face goes like that. And you see mostly people like that face. Anxiety. There's a Sanskrit word, verse, very funny. Chinta chita samakhyata. Chinta chitato adhika. Chita nirjivam dahati. Chinta jivitam eva dahyati. Very simple Sanskrit. It means anxiety is a play on words. In Sanskrit, chinta means anxiety and chita means the funeral pyre where the dead bodies are burnt. The Hindus cremate their bodies. So that's called the chitta, the fire, the funeral fire, where you put a dead body and burns up the body. So he says, anxiety is called that funeral fire. Anxiety is worse than that fire, the cremation fire. Why? Because the cremation fire only burns up a dead body. Anxiety burns up the living body. Anxiety burns up the living body. I remember in the Himalayas, there was this Swami, I don't know if he's still alive, it was more than 12 years ago. Now, he was old, in his 80s. He used to live in a cave and then he has this little ashram. I still remember him saying, I have committed only one sin in my life. And we were sitting near him. We asked, "What, Swami?" "The only sin that I've committed in my life is making this ashram. I was happier sitting in the cave." But anyway, we all said, of course, why should you say that? Because we are getting the advantage of meeting you and so many people can come because you have this ashram. Anyway, he was old at that time and he was very obese. He was actually huge. And a doctor had come to give him a checkup. He was not keeping well. He was in his 80s. And the doctor was skinny. Now the doctor asked, and this works only in Hindi, so I'll tell you in Hindi and then translate back. The doctor asked, "Swami ji, kya khate hain? Itne mote ho gaye? What do you eat, Swami? You have become so fat." And then the Swami immediately, he's very witty, he immediately replied. He said, "Doctor Sahab, मैं चिंता को चबा जाता हूँ और चिंता आपको चबा जाती है." "Oh doctor, I eat up, I gobble up all my anxieties. I just gobble up all my anxieties, and anxieties are gobbling you up. Your anxieties, your fears, your tensions are eating you up. I eat up all my anxieties, so I have become junk food, you put on weight. But your anxieties and your tensions and your fears are eating you up. That's why you're so dyspeptic, so skinny." Nishchintitehi, without the least fear, without the least anxiety. God will take care. Sarvada, at all times. You see, to do spiritual practice, use space, time, object, desha, kala, vastu. How do you do that? If you can't think of God all the time, let me say in the next 1 hour, conscious deliberation. In the next 1 hour, I shall only think of Krishna or of Christ. 1 hour. Cut it off in time. No other thought allowed. No entry. Put it outside your mind, outside the mind, there will be a sign. No entry. Only Krishna allowed inside. 1 hour. Space. In this space, in my prayer room or sitting on my meditation mat, in that space, no thought of the world is allowed. Nothing. No thought of the world is allowed. Not even the most serious problem, not allowed when I'm sitting there. Space. Cut off that space. In that space. Object. I will keep my mind on the form of Krishna or on the Lord in whatever form you worship. Even the greatest of things, greatest of sorrows cannot shake you. The author of the gospel, once in Kashi, there's such a touching story. He used to teach the Bhagavatam, the story of Krishna and the avatars of Vishnu and all, to the monks. And he was going for the class, he was going to teach with the book. Somebody ran up to him and gave him a telegram. And he looked at the telegram, folded it, and then he walked on to the class, and he was teaching beautifully. The monks who were sitting there listening to him, one of the monks whispered to the others, to somebody near him, that is a real devotee of the Lord. Why? Do you know what was in the telegram? His beloved child passed away. Was sick, passed away. He just folded it back and went on with the class. There's such stories we hear. Who was the great devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Whose own son had died. Son or daughter had died. And that night Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was supposed to come to their house. And there would be kirtan and singing the name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. And the devotees would sing and dance throughout the night. And this gentleman in whose house, he just suppressed the whole news. Kept his sorrow, his breaking heart within himself and conducted the whole program, received the Lord and sang and danced with everyone throughout the night. So, sarvada, at all times, under all circumstances, sarva bhavena, in all ways, not only by mantra, not only by meditation, but by serving the devotees, by listening to the stories of the Lord, by speaking about the Lord, by going on pilgrimage, by doing puja, by studying the scriptures, in all ways, sarva bhavena. And the Lord in every form, within yourself, the Lord within myself, within everybody else, in the temple, in every place, in every way, worship the Lord alone, sarva bhavena. Sarvada, all the times, and sarva bhavena. How? Nishchintitehi, without the slightest anxiety. God has promised, try it, God will take care of your life. You'll be taken care of. That's what the Lord wants. That's what the Lord loves. Sarva bhavena, Bhagavan eva bhajaniya. The Lord alone. This emphasis is there. The Lord alone is to be worshipped. Nothing else. God plus something else. No. The Lord alone is to be worshipped. Most practical advice, I think. Very powerful teaching of the higher form of love. Sarvada sarva bhavena nishchintitehi Bhagavan eva bhajaniya. At all times, in all places. If you cannot do all times and all places, as I said, particular time, particular place, particular form. At least start with that. Then it becomes all. More and more it spreads over. You cannot stop afterwards. It becomes an intoxication. It becomes the most important thing in your life. Nothing else even comes close to it. Everything else slowly drops away from you and the Lord alone. This beautiful story, okay, I'll tell you later on.
Okay. I just wanted to end our discussion with that message. And I thought this video actually just summarizes a lot of our discussion, puts it into perspective on what we are discussing about the gopis and the gopalas at this point. Anyone has anything to add? We have about 3-4 minutes. Can you speak in the mic, please?
Yeah. The chinta and chitta means
Yeah.
stress eats you, and chitta
Yeah.
is you die.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
actually
terrible, you know.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, please go.
Sainam, I think we have talked about it many times in the past. I think the total surrender. See, the Lord is always taking care. It's only we are that fear and all that is because of the insufficient faith. Anxiety, all that is only because we don't believe that. We want something physical, something physical in our world to it has to be in line with what we expect. Again,
That is
we talk about all
exactly,
that.
yeah.
So at the moment we have the expectations, then we want it the way we think it should happen, and the moment there are a million other ways of doing it which we can't think of.
Absolutely.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Also, when he said that allot this particular time, the space and focus, that brought me that memories of childhood that I'm sure in many household it was like in the morning prayer, you know, in front of whatever pictures are in the altar we have to sit even whatever time, 1 minute, 2 minutes. Same thing in the evening also. In our household, it was 6 o'clock. Light the lamp and you have to sit. No matter what, how old the kid is, young or old, you got to sit. We didn't know at that time. That's kind of a discipline that he talks about. They did follow a lot of things. Maybe they won't be our parents or grandparents were not able to explain it. But we went through the motions at that time. But now, as we get older and we listen to these things and all that practices, they had meaning. Whether we stick to it or not, it becomes a habit, you know, even till today, it's a habit for me. But then I can invest more time. Even in our house, Swami room, go sit there and that. You focus only there, then the other things go away.
Right.
You know, all this anxiety and that, at least for a few minutes. Like that we can. So those are all good practices that we should stick to.
Sairam, I think one thing we can probably do, which, as you rightly said, when we were growing up, this were being done, but nobody was there to explain. Maybe we were too young to understand all that. That's fine. But even among the adults who could have understood, there were no discussions taking place. I think in our situations, now that we are going through this, maybe what we can do is at home, in our family, engage the discussions with the children when they are like a teenagers, like at that stage, when they can understand a little bit, not very young, but at that stage, engage in discussions as to why we are doing it and what is the significance of it. Because many times that lack of that is probably why we are taking this long to have this satsang to go deeper into all that aspect of spirituality. Maybe that may help.
Absolutely.
That to answer, we should be, you know, educating ourselves to
absolutely,
begin with,
yes,
right?
yes, definitely.
See, I have come across also when we are children, if you ask something, why are you asking? We never asked this to our parents. This kind of answer, it will discourage you so much. You know, when think back, they didn't know how to answer it, or they didn't want to answer it. Most likely, they don't know how to explain things. But then we were dumb enough to listen. Okay, I wouldn't ask.
Yeah, it's
but nowadays kids won't do that, you know. So it is better for us to educate ourselves first, and then
actually, if we follow it ourselves, you don't need to explain anything. It happens. After a while, they will ask why you are doing it. So that is my observation. But anyway, I just want to just bring up life application. This is the easiest practice. I know Swamiji said, take care, you know, if you can put a vastu, a thing, a name, and a place and a time for everything. That is correct. But at the same time, breath is something that you always carry. It is something that you can focus on, inhaling and exhaling. Even if you don't remember what this reflection is, so hum is enough to actually just focus on the self for that moment. So I just wanted to bring it back to the breath. And if we can actually start this as a life application, it would be a great practice. So with that, let's end with Om and Three Shantis. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sairam, thank you all for joining today.
Sairam, we will have a song practice after dinner.